It's that time of the year again. The time when I finally get to sit down and have the motivation to talk about my favorite game and all the things I hate about it. Hey guys, Unique Ways Man here. I've been experiencing a really downward slope of content creation recently. I can promise y'all that I'm doing a lot behind the scenes, but I can't say much on that yet. But, you know, the community is dying really. I'm just experiencing a lack of motivation to edit videos together. And frankly, every single time I get rid of a pedophile, minimax just gives me the middle finger and hires a hacker. Speaking of which, today we're going to be talking about Lighthouse Alley, the 35th co-creation level to Rolling Sky, and it's really shit. If you've seen my co-creation ranking video, you'll know that I put a lot of stones in the bag when it comes to level appearance. And then when you have routes like Jungle Expedition's toddler RSR shit, and then you have Melodic Metropolis's awful textures and objects, you'll know that I could rant about that stuff for 2 hours straight. Thankfully, Lighthouse Alley is not like Melodic Metropolis, and it's not like Jungle Expedition. It's actually a mixture of both. It has the shittiest of shit-ass routes, textures, and objects all rolled into one big amalgamation of garbage. Again, you either gotta be really stupid or really biased to hire a router who's not only a hacker, but has leaked the Minimax private editor APK, which, by the way, gets you blacklisted immediately. Again, the routes are just some of the most god-awful mutation of basic gameplay I've ever seen before. Not only does it carry on the RSR toddler style routes that is just omnipresent throughout levels like Unsuccessful Person and Jungle Expedition, but the router uses every single tile in the entire catalog of the game. And what's worse is that he uses each tile for 2 seconds and then he just forgets that he used them. The Starfish Riser too is just so oversaturated in the level that I feel like I'm going into cardiac arrest from drowning in these fucking things. And what's worse is that all the other objects are just barely used. Listen, I know that the textures and objects were all faithfully copied from the original concept made by silicon dioxide, but just because a concept makes something a certain way doesn't mean Minimax has to copy it verbatim, especially if the concept is really shit. The music too was just extremely dull and uninspired, especially coming from the people who made Foggy City, one of my favorite soundtracks in the entire game. But at the end of the day, I'm grateful that they made this song incredibly short, because really, who wants this dumpster fire level to be longer? But the one thing Minimax didn't carry over from the original concept was the mechanic. Earlier in the video I mentioned that you have this weird theme change with the fog color, and then you also might be wondering why the whales just look so weird with this flat water texture underneath them. All of these things have to do with the mechanic, which is the main topic of discussion in this video, ladies and gentlemen. So as you know, Minimax has never built a mechanic in co-creation before. You have Lab Confidential, Bouncing City, Observatory, Knit Kingdom, Parade, the list goes on. None of them. Not a single mechanic was ever added in any of these concepts. At the time, it was because Minimax just wasn't that great at coding, and then they got better at coding, and yet the mechanics still remained unused. Why? I have two theories. Number one, they're just lazy as fuck. Number two, Minimax realized that if they start adding mechanics, people are going to start complaining and say, hey, how come you added the mechanic for this concept, but not this concept? It's just gonna introduce a whole stream of bias accusations, and if I was Minimax, I would want to stay fully clear of that. But then that's why I was worried when I looked into the leaks for Lighthouse Alley like 2 weeks before it came out, and I realized that Minimax was actually building the mechanic for the level. Yes, this level is going to have a fully functional mechanic, but Minimax scrapped it at the last second for whatever reason. So, ladies and gentlemen, the way this mechanic was originally designed is you have to find a whale and push that whale into the water. Later, the whale emerges from the water carrying a gem and it gives it to you for free. And then similar to Jade Rabbit's alternate theme that gets activated by the fireworks, pushing the whale into the water will cause the final yellow theme to have an alternate version where you see a whale silhouette in the background. Like, you gotta give props. As shitty as this concept designer silicon dioxide is, that's actually pretty clever. You're saving the whale and putting him into the ocean, and then as a sign of thanks, he gives a gem to you for free. That's wholesome. And Minimax liked it so much that they thought it would be deserving of the first mechanic to ever be added into the game. And yes, this is still the first mechanic that was ever developed for co-creation. Looking into the files, you have the model for the whale going into the water and the whale coming up with the gem. I know the gem looks weird, but that's because they're textured differently than regular objects. The only difference was that instead of pushing the whale, you would just touch this power up, and then the whale would go into the water in the same way. And then the level came out, and where the fuck is the mechanic, Minimax? No, for whatever reason, even though Minimax had all the models, all the animations, and even a third alternate theme ready for this, they decided to back out at the last second. It's like when you're taking a shit in a public restroom, you get a little bit on the toilet seat, and rather than actually cleaning it up, you just get up and walk out. Double it and give it to the next person. Minimax had this mechanic ready, and then when they scrapped it, rather than actually cleaning it up, they decided to just leave remnants of it. Now you have two weird ass whales that animate automatically with this weird ass water texture, and then you have this alternate theme which doesn't even have the whale silhouette that was designed in the original concept, and for some reason the fog color is different than it was in the original theme, which is not what's supposed to happen, and it all just results in this embarrassing half-baked final project that's already gone spoiled before you've taken it out of the package, and it's just disappointing. Because all in all, Lighthouse Alley is just a humiliating washed up hunk of junk, and the fact that this level went through 2 delays and multiple green lights just to get this. The router is a terrible router and a terrible person. The objects and models radiate this RSR toddler style that Minimax levels need to stay clear of at all times. The object usage is imbalanced to such a cancerous degree, and this mechanic is a classic example of Minimax's indecisiveness and poor planning that plagues all of their worst levels. I'm giving Lighthouse Alley a 1.5 out of 10. If they put Vaporeon in the level, maybe I would have given it more slack, but alas, men just can't have their dreams sometimes. Alright, I'm not talking about Lighthouse Alley again. I'll see y'all later.